For 250 years, America has been called the greatest country on earth. It put men on the moon, created Hollywood, invented the iPhone, built trillion-dollar companies, and became the world's only superpower. But if you were actually born here anytime between 1776 and today, chances are you'd have lived through a war, an economic collapse, a pandemic, riots, political chaos, or a crisis that changed your life forever. So why did it suck to be American? Let's find out.
1776 to 1800, the promise that already hurts. You are born into a promise. They wrap you in a scrap of cloth and lay you beside the family Bible, its cover soft from your mother's hands. Inside, above your name, someone has written a single word: free. You cannot read it yet, but you will spend your whole life trying to earn it. Freedom, you learn early, does not fill an empty stomach. The war took your father before you knew his face and left your mother with nothing but that book and her prayers. The money in your house is worth less every morning. By winter, a single loaf of bread costs a small fortune. You go to bed hungry and tell yourself the hunger means something. You watch men in fine coats sign great documents. You hear the word liberty ring from church steeples like a bell, and for a moment your chest swells with it. You believe them. Then you see the man in chains at the edge of your town. You see a family driven off their own land at the point of a musket, their children crying in the dust. The promise is beautiful, but already, quietly, it is hurting someone. Even you. 1800 to 1860, the country grows and so does the cruelty. You grow and the country grows faster than you can believe. Overnight, a single stroke of a pen doubles the land, and suddenly there is more America than any man could walk in a lifetime. Steamboats churn up the rivers against the current. Iron rails crawl west across the plains like veins feeding a giant heart. There is room now, they say, room enough for everyone. But you learn to ask whose home the new road is built upon. You watch whole nations of people marched from their land in the freezing cold, soldiers at their backs, children falling behind and never rising again. You write their passing in the margins of the family Bible, though no one asked you to, because someone should remember.
Down south, the cotton grows white and endless, and so do the chains of the hands that pick it. Men chase gold across a bleeding frontier, killing for a fistful of dust. Soldiers march to seize another country's land and call it destiny. The nation swells with money, wagons, and restless, hungry hope. And you begin to understand the pattern that will follow you forever. Every new road, every fortune, every mile of this promise is paved over someone else's grave. 1861, 1900, freedom comes through fire. Then the country turns on itself, brother against brother. The green fields you played in as a child swallowed in smoke and screaming. You add name after name to the Bible until your hand shakes and the margins run out. 600,000 men do not come home. When the guns finally fall silent, the chains break at last. 4 million people are free. For one trembling season, the word your family wrote generations ago feels true for everyone, and you dare to hope the promise has finally caught up to itself. But the promise is betrayed almost before the ink is dry. The men who were freed are hunted in the night. The soldiers who protected them leave, and the old cruelty returns wearing a new face.
You drift to the city, where the smoke never truly clears. Your hands feed roaring machines that never tire. Your children feed them too, small fingers bleeding for pennies, 10 hours a day. High above you, men named Vanderbilt, Rockefeller, and Carnegie build fortunes taller than cathedrals. You strike for a fair wage. You are beaten back into line. America has never been richer, never been mightier. And you have never felt smaller.
1900 to 1945, the giant learns to shake the world. Now the whole world learns to move at your speed. Two brothers lift a machine into the sky and the future sprouts wings. Ford's assembly line breathes out a finished car every single minute. Skyscrapers claw past the clouds. Jazz pours out of open windows and crackling radios, and faces the size of buildings smile down from Hollywood screens. For one bright, golden moment, the promise glows. Then, the music stops. The banks fall.
Your savings vanish overnight, as if they were never real. The fields dry up and rise into black clouds that swallow whole towns. You stand in a bread line, the cloth-wrapped Bible pressed to your chest, wondering if the word inside was ever more than ink. Then, bombs fall on your harbor.
You send your sons across 2 oceans. Some come home with medals, some come home in boxes. Some never come home at all. Your own neighbors, Americans, are locked behind fences for the shape of their eyes. And in a silent desert, your scientists build a fire that could end the world. And you become the only people who ever used it. You win. You are the strongest nation alive. But you begin to fear what winning is turning you into.
1945 to 1969, the dream house with locked rooms. Now they hand you the dream, gift-wrapped and shining. A house with a green lawn, a car in the driveway, a television glowing warm in the corner. Highways stretch to the horizon, and every year the crib fills again. You set the family Bible on a new mantle and let yourself think, maybe the promise finally came true. But the dream house has locked rooms.
You teach your children to hide beneath their school desks in case the sky itself turns to fire. Neighbors whisper accusations, and one careless word can end a man's life and livelihood. And just down your own street, your neighbor still cannot sit beside you, drink beside you, or vote beside you, for no reason but the color of his skin. You watch a man step onto the moon, and your whole chest fills with wonder. For one night, you believe there is nothing your country cannot do. Then you watch young men come home from a jungle called Vietnam in flag-draped boxes, and the wonder curdles into doubt. The house looks perfect from the street, but inside, so many doors are still locked, and you are beginning to wonder who holds the keys.
1970 to 1990. Screens, stars, and cracks in the floor. The country grows louder, brighter, more electric, and it all comes to you through a screen. A small glowing box lands on your desk, a personal computer built by 2 young men named Gates and Jobs who swear it will change everything. And it does. A dancer named Michael moves like no one alive, and the whole world copies his every step. The Cold War that shadowed your entire childhood finally cracks and falls. But the floor beneath the celebration is splitting. You wait in long, angry lines just for gasoline. Prices climb faster than your paycheck ever could. A frightening new sickness spreads through the shadows, and the country looks away while it buries a generation. Crack burns through whole neighborhoods, and the cameras only ever show the flames, never the families.
You watch a space shuttle rise, proud and gleaming, then vanish into a cloud of smoke before your eyes as schoolchildren watch live in their classrooms. The bright screens keep promising you a dazzling, glittering future. But off camera, quietly, your neighbors are falling straight through the cracks in the floor, and no one on television seems to notice they are gone.
1990 to 2008, the internet opens the door. Then the towers fall. Then a door swings open that no one will ever be able to close. A vast web of light connects the entire world through the box on your desk. You can buy anything, find anything, watch anything at any hour. Companies born in ordinary garages, Amazon, Google, swell into empires almost overnight. Soon, a small glowing phone holds your entire life inside your palm. The future feels weightless, unstoppable. Then, the future turns on you. Children shoot children in a school hallway, and the whole country watches, helpless and horrified. The bubble bursts, and fortunes evaporate in a single afternoon. Then, on one clear blue September morning, 2 towers fall out of the sky.
You watch it live, again and again, the cloth-wrapped Bible clutched to your chest. The country changes overnight. Angrier, more afraid, more willing to trade freedom for safety. Your sons march off to distant deserts and do not come back the same men who left. And beneath it all, quietly, another bubble swells. This time in the very houses you live in, waiting patiently to take everything you have left.
2008 to 2020. Everyone has a voice, and no one can hear you. The bubble bursts, and the whole promise you were sold collapses at once. Your home, your savings, your job, gone in a single terrible season, through no fault of your own. Then in the wreckage, something rises. A black man places his hand on a Bible and becomes president, and for a breathtaking moment, the old promise feels brand new again. Now everyone has a voice. A screen in your pocket hands you the whole world and a stage of your own, and the company that built that screen becomes the first ever worth $1 trillion. Rockets land themselves upright. Caped heroes fill every giant screen. But the louder it all gets, the lonelier you feel. Anger spreads faster than truth. Neighbors stop speaking, split apart by invisible lines. A quiet epidemic of pills empties whole small towns, one funeral at a time. Your children practice hiding from gunmen at school as calmly as a fire drill. You hold that glowing phone in one hand and the old cloth-wrapped Bible in the other. And late at night, you honestly cannot tell which one is still listening to you.
2016 to 2024, the flag becomes a mirror. Now, the country stops agreeing on what is even real. One leader rises, loved and hated with equal fire. To some, he brings roaring markets, bold new peace deals abroad, a fresh branch of the military reaching for the stars, and a vaccine built in record time. To others, he brings chaos, cruelty, and a threat to everything they hold dear. You and your neighbor watch the very same television and see two completely different countries. Then a silent plague suddenly empties the streets. Masks, funerals, locked doors. You bury loved ones you are not even allowed to hold. And one cold winter day, a furious crowd storms the very heart of your democracy, and the whole world holds its breath. Prices climb, trust collapses, every dinner table argument hardens into a war. Even truth itself becomes something you must now pick a side on. You look up at the same flag you were born beneath. The flag your family has carried through every fire for 250 years. But now it feels less like a flag and more like a mirror. And every side is terrified of what they see staring back.
2026, AI America and the last question. The old leader returns to power. Half the country cheers, half despairs, and the ground itself seems to tilt beneath your feet. A machine learns to think, to speak, to answer almost anything you ask, and no one is sure whether to call it a miracle or a monster. Rockets rise and land themselves like something out of a dream. One man becomes the world's first trillionaire, while a company called Nvidia grows worth more than entire nations. The future you were promised has finally, truly arrived. But you are more afraid than you have ever been. The machines begin doing the very work your children spent their lives training for. A simple home now costs more than a lifetime of wages. The nation's debt climbs past numbers too large to even picture. And a quiet ache, loneliness, exhaustion, a hollow kind of tired hums beneath every glowing screen. You are the richest, strongest, most powerful people who have ever lived. And still, at night, you unwrap the old cloth, open the family Bible, and press your thumb to the word your ancestors wrote there so long ago. Free. You wonder if you ever truly were.
You are old now, as old as the country. You held a musket, then a hammer, then a phone. You reached the moon, yet cannot afford the house your grandfather built. That is America's secret. The promise was never a gift. It was a bill, passed down, never paid. You fold the cloth, place the Bible in your child's hands, and whisper the word your mother gave you. Free. It was hard, but you would be born nowhere else.
If you think that story deserved to be told, leave a like. It takes 2 seconds and it's the only thing that tells me to keep digging up stories like this. I'll see you in the next one.